Hello and welcome to an introduction to quadratic equations. Okay, so a brief introduction. A quadratic equation is an equation that can be written in the form ax squared. Let me fill in that a right there. So we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a does not equal 0. And the reason we don't want a to be 0, because if a were to equal 0, then it would knock out the x squared, leaving you with just the bx plus c equals 0. And if you look, that's just a linear equation. And this is a step up from linear. This adds the exponent of the x squared, giving you a different shape. Where linear, when you graphed, it gave you something that looked like that. Where a quadratic equation is going to give you something called a parabola, or it looks like a U or an upside down N. And that's what it's going to look when you graph, and the x squared gives you this shape, whereas just the regular x like this would give you the linear. Where ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 yields this. Okay, continuing our introduction, a quadratic equation can be written in that form, and what you're going to be asked to solve, and that means to look for the roots. So that means to look for the roots or, in other terms, where the function, and yes, quadratic equations will be functions, intercepts the x-axis. And quadratic equations have many applications found throughout uh, many fields of study. For example, economics, you may have graphs and you have to see where they intercept, and they mean all sorts of different things. Okay, so when solving, there are going to be some methods, and there's going to be some types of answers. So if you were to graph and to get an answer that looked like this, you notice that there are 2 points that intersect, so there are 2 possible answers. You could graph and get something that looked like this, where there would be no solution. Because if you look, there are no intersections along the x-axis. You could even get something that looked like this, where it sits right at the origin, and this would have one possible answer or solution. And I'm actually going to go back and write answers slash solutions on this first one. And the reason that this would have, because it would just touch right there, that one place. Okay, when looking for methods of solving the quadratic equations, you could do graphing, which is what we looked at just earlier, briefly. You could use graphing. You could use factoring. You could complete the square. Completing the square. and you could even use what's called the quadratic equation. Now these are just going to be some brief introductions to these topics in this section. When you move into college algebra, you will probably look deeper into these. But for the sake of this class, what we'll learn in this video is what you're going to need to move ahead. So in the next video, we are going to discuss solving quadratic equations by factoring.